Hey everyone, this video is on comparing the Strix 3080 OC versus the Strix 3090 OC. These two cards physically are identical. I'm behind the camera here, so it's a little hard to, you know, grab them both. But this is the 90 itself, and then just a quick look at the 80. You'll notice you get pretty much the same cooler, same PCB. So it's kind of lame that the 80 has a $150 premium and the 90 suddenly has a $300 premium. So there's definitely some price gouging there. But I would say EVGA is doing the same thing with their 90 Ultras. So it is what it is. You got to pay to play. The point of this video is really just going to be looking at what do you really get for gaming with the extra $1,000. A lot of people have put up benchmarks 90 versus 80, but like I said in the previous video, the Strix 80 overclocked is very close to a 90 Founders Edition in actual gaming. So I ran these cards through some of the games I have on my machine right now. I don't game that much, but these are the games I'm working through, about 9 of them. Some of them are fairly recent. So I tested both cards at their max stable game clock. The 3090 tends to be around, at best, 2040. Normally hovering around 1960 on air with 75. Both of these were at 75% fan. So that's a tolerable amount of noise. You can barely hear it. If you left on auto, it probably spins up to 75% anyway, or give or take 5%. So the 3080 ran at about, I'd say 2060 to 2100, and the 3090 anywhere from 1960 to 2040, really depending on the game and how hot it got, etc. I try to keep it at a steady temperature, but granted, I think I can probably squeeze out a little more on both on water. How much that actually affect frame rate? Probably not so much. And I guess we'll see by the number. So those are the numbers. Some of the numbers seem a little funny, especially for 4K, and some of the ultra wide numbers too. I think that has to do with just these are still relatively new cards, and you have new games, and you have old games, and things aren't working as they should 100%. But overall, I think it's pretty clear that the difference is very small at times. The whole argument with the 3080 not having enough VRAM doesn't really make sense to me, since nobody was really complaining about the 2080 Ti, which only had a little bit more. That kind of logic just doesn't make sense. VRAM allocations are the same thing as usage. Just because it allocates that much VRAM doesn't mean it will use that much VRAM or needs that much VRAM in a game. If you play heavily modded games, that's a different scenario. But I don't think any dev is sitting out there going, oh, you know what? We develop games for, systems with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Because the majority of people who play games on PC, they have a mid-range card with 6 or 8 gigabytes. So that whole logic is just way out there. I would say don't buy a 3090 for gaming. It's just a stupid idea. With the non-Strix models, you probably pay like $800 more before tax and all that. It's just not worth it. I mean, if you buy it to flex, then you buy it to flex. But who are you really flexing for? Nobody, right? So if you have a legitimate use case, like you do CAD or you edit in DaVinci Resolve, then it makes sense to have that kind of VRAM. So therefore, it's worth it to buy a 3090. Otherwise, I don't think you should at all. And for the people who are buying 3090s to trade down, that's just stupid. Because 3090 cards are getting extremely easy to buy. Like, I can walk into Micro Center and get a 3090 fairly easily. And there are people on Craigslist that are selling 3090s for cheaper than what I would pay from Newegg with tax, brand new. Because a lot of people try to buy them and then scalp them, and didn't work out, or people bought them thinking they could trade down and now are out of the return period and need to try to get their money back. You know, when you're buying a card that you don't plan to use or you just plan to keep in a box hoping to trade down, you're creating a situation where someone else who wants a 3090 can't get one. And that's just stupid. Because you still don't have a card you can use or a card you want, but you also created a shortage for someone else. So the amount of people trading down is very high. The amount of people trading up is almost near zero. So stop creating that situation. Stock is getting better. 3080s were a lot more in stock last week, last couple of 2 weeks. Not looking so good this week, but you know, it ramps up. And also, I will have the Kingpin hopefully soon. I'm pretty early on the auto notify, so like number 20 or number 19 on the unofficial list. So I hope to get it sometime next week. I'll definitely be giving that a shot. Sadly, it comes with AIO. I just wish it just came with a block and nothing else, or just came with the card by itself. Other than that, I will be blocking these Strix cards shortly. My personal reason for buying a 3090 is because, you know, photography is also a hobby of mine, and you know, editing 8K footage will be interesting. So that's one personal reason I bought a 3090, and also because, you know, I'm trying to learn CAD just for some, you know, PC stuff. Well, get better at CAD. So that's my personal reason for getting a 90. But I think if you're just the average gamer, you know, get an 80, get the best 80 you can get. Don't waste your money on a 90. You're really just flexing and nobody cares. And that's all. Thanks for watching.